The reward of friendship is friendship itself. Of all the things which wisdom acquires to produce the blessedness of the complete life, for the greatest is the possession of friendship. Aristotle. If thou wilt make a man happy, add not unto his riches, but take away from his desires. Seneca. We must not say every mistake is a foolish one. Seneca. Well, applied to its extreme is the greatest injustice. Confucius. It is our attitude toward events, not events themselves, which we can control. Marcus Aurelius. Nothing is by its own nature. Calamitas, even death, is terrible only if we fear it. Give me by all means the shorter and nobler life, instead of one that is longer, but of less accounts. No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. Epictetus. If you tell me that you desire a fake, I answer that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Seneca. If you don't run while you're healthy, you'll have to run when you're sick. Seneca. Manage your mood, because if it does not obey, then it commands. Seneca. And love, there are two evils, war and peace. Seneca. Feed your parents as you would like your children to treat you. Seneca. When men speak ill of thee, live so, as nobody may believe them. Seneca. An empty vessel makes the loudest sound, so those that have the least wit are the greatest babblers. Seneca. Friends share all things. Seneca. As soon as law is unnecessary for men, they are no longer fit for freedom. Seneca. Choose always the way that seems the best. However rough it may be, custom will soon render it easy and agreeable. Seneca. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We, them, not because we needed them, but because. Seneca. What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. Seneca. No man was ever wise by chance. Seneca. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Seneca. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Seneca. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Socrates. The high-minded man must care more for the truth than for what people think. Aristotle. There is only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Aristotle. Learning is not child's play. We cannot learn without pain. Aristotle. What we do now echoes eternity. Marcus Aurelius. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius. Receive without conceit, release. Without struggle, you can't love either the one you're afraid of or the one who's afraid of you. Marcus Aurelius. Diseases of the soul are more dangerous than one numerous than those of the body. Epicurus. Impunity is the greatest encouragement of crime. Epicurus. If you shape your life according to nature, you will never be poor. If according to people's opinions, you will never be rich. Contented poverty is an honorable estate. Therefore, foolish is the man who says that he fears death, not because it will cause pain when it arrives, but because anticipation of it is painful. Epicurus. It is unrealistic to expect people to see you as you see yourself. Seneca. Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Epicurus. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus. Assume that is too large is apt to trip one, and when too small to pinch the feet. So it is with those whose fortune does not suit them. Seneca. Humor is often stronger and more effective than sharpness and cutting knotty issues. Seneca. Trying to be brief, you become incomprehensible. Seneca. The world is boring for boring people. Seneca. Bad people live to eat and drink. Virtuous people eat and drink in order to live. Socrates, people are like dirt. They can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and make you wither and die. Jim Rohn, anger begins in folly and ends in repentance. Ambrosia, a blow from your friend is better than a kiss from your enemy. Senna, practice justice in word and in deed, and do not get in the habit of acting thoughtlessly about anything. Plato, they lose the day in expectation of the night, and the night in fear of the dawn. Seneca, associate with people who are likely to improve you. Seneca, I shall never be ashamed of citing of that author. If the line is good, difficulty shows what men are. Seneca, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. Seneca, death smiles at a soul each week. All we can do is smile back. Mark Twain, without friends, no one would want to live, even if he had all the other goods. Aristotle, dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in the consciousness that we deserve them. Aristotle, where your talents and the needs of the world cross, there lies your vocation. Aristotle.
It is in your power to withdraw yourself whenever you desire. Perfect tranquility within consists in the good ordering of the mind, the realm of your own. Marcus Aurelius. If man despises me, that is his problem. My only concern is not doing or saying anything deserving of contempt. Epictetus. In the world, there is nothing better and more pleasant than friendship. To exclude friendship from life is the same as to deprive the world of sunlight. Cicero 3. Though silence is not necessarily an admission, it is not a denial either. Alexander Hagior. Don't spoil the impression of what you have by wanting what you don't have. To get great pleasure, you need to limit yourself. Leo Tolstoy. The life of a fool is bleak and full of fear, because he puts everything aside for the future. Seneca. Difficulty shows what men are. Epictetus. We must not believe the many who say that only free people ought to be educated, but we should rather believe the philosophers who say that only the educated are free. Epictetus. A force devoid of reason perishes by itself. Napoleon Bonaparte. He will always be a slave who does not know how to live upon a little. Horace. If any man cannot feel the power of God when he looks upon the stars, then I doubt whether he is capable of any feeling at all. Abraham Lincoln. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Plato. There is in every one of us, even those who seem to be most moderate, a type of desire that is terrible, wild, and lawless. Plato. Poets utter grapes and wise things which they do not themselves understand. Plato. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades. Plato. You should make great things, not promising great things. Steve Jobs. It is difficult to walk at one and the same time. Many paths of life. Lucius Annius Seneca. Only time can heal what reason cannot. Seneca. Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Seneca. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If according to what others think, you will never be rich. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Seneca. Nothing endures but change. Heraclitus. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. Marcus Aurelius. The secret to humor is surprise. Aristotle. Rising from the anticipation of evil. Lucius Annius Seneca. The only stable state is the one in which all men are equal before the law. Aristotle. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. Marcus Aurelius. Whatever does wrong, wrongs himself. Seneca. Whoever does injustice does it to himself making. Plato. A memory of everything is very soon overwhelmed in time. Marcus Aurelius. The functional wisdom is to discriminate between good and evil. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Nothing stands out so conspicuously or remains so firmly fixed in the memory as something which you have blundered. Marcus Tullius Cicero. We are bound by the law so that we may be free. Marcus Tullius Cicero. What are you laughing at? A story is told about you with a changed name. Nassim Nicholas Taleb. The aim of the poet is to inform or delight, or to combine together in what he says both pleasure and applicability to life. Aristotle. Wife grants nothing to us mortals without hard work. Hesiod. They do harm, but not every man can do good to another. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. Plato. A dog has the soul of a philosopher. Plato. Enjoy present pleasures in such a way as not to injure future ones. Seneca. Wealth is the slave of a wise man, the master of a fool. Seneca. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus. Anger, it's not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. No man was ever wise by chance. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. He who has money cannot be punished. Aristophanes. Order is most helpful for clear assimilation. Seneca. It all matters before beginning. Diligent preparation should be made. Confucius. Do not avoid doing small services. They will think that you are also capable of big ones. Confucius. Do not shy away from business, but do not fuss too much. Marcus Aurelius. Capture your reader. Let him not depart from dull beginnings that refuse to start. William Strunk, Jr. A person's weakness is shown in his inability to refuse. Ayn Rand. Every man can tell how many goats worth sheep he possesses, but not how many friends. Marcus Tullius Cicero. It is our own evil thoughts which make us. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Freedom will bite back more fiercely when suspended than when she remains undisturbed. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Time is the soul of the world. Hermes Trismegistus. Be a good son, just brother, spouse, tender and good father. Confucius. Even as truth does error have its lovers. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Without friendship, no communication between people has value. Epicurus. When the word does not strike, then the stick will not help either. Confucius. What we do now echoes an eternity. Marcus Aurelius. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day. It's never short of time. Seneca. Leisure without books is death and burial of a man alive. Seneca. Often a very old man has no other proof of his long life than his age. Seneca. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. Seneca. To study philosophy is nothing but to prepare oneself to die. Michel de Montaigne. A happy life consists in tranquility of mind. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Old age, the crown of life. Our play's last act. Sophocles. Fear of making a mistake involves another. Chinese proverb. Beauty dies from wine, youth is reduced by wine. Friedrich Nietzsche. If you wish people to weep, you must weep. Horace. Friends, other companions on a journey who want to aid each other to persevere on the road to a happier life. Pythagoras. Most men and women by birth or nature like the means to advance in wealth and power, but all have the ability to advance in knowledge. Pythagoras. Learn silence with a quiet serenity of the meditative mind. Listen, absorb, transcribe, and transform. Pythagoras. It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Marcus Aurelius. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. Be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary in a few words. Epictetus. Love not what you want to love and what you have. Thomas à Kempis. Mingle a little folly with your wisdom, a little nonsense now and then. His pleasant. Horace. We are just statistics born to consume resources. Jacques Fresco. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, and by rulers as useful. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. A gift consists not in what is done or given, but at the intention of the giver or doer. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. We learn not in school, but in life. Lucius Annaeus Seneca. Happiness belongs to the self-sufficient. Aristotle. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Steve Jobs. The best way to predict the future is to invent it. Alan Kay. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin D. Roosevelt. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Martin Luther King, Jr. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi. I think, therefore I am. René Descartes. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. John Lennon. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. In 3 words I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Robert Frost. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Lao Tzu. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Thomas Edison. The mind is everything. What you think you become. Buddha. Believe you can and you're halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Plato. The only thing standing between you and your goal is the story you keep telling yourself that you can't achieve it. Jordan Belfort. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Chinese proverb. You can't chase after money. You need to go towards them. Tony Robbins. For 2 years a person learns to speak, and then, for the rest of his life, he learns to be silent. Pirsig. No one can give you better advice and yourself. Epictetus. Good and evil cannot be treated the same way. Aristotle. Love is the attempt to form a friendship inspired by beauty. Socrates. It would be less madness to carry firewood into the forest. Horace. You may drive out nature with a pitchfork, yet she still will hurry back. Horace. Mix a little foolishness with your serious plans. It is lovely to be silly at the right moment. Horace. Life is long if you know how to use it. Seneca. Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Seneca. There is no genius without a touch of madness. Aristotle. No audio. To wish to be well is a part of becoming well. Seneca. But life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past. Neglect the present and fear the future. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. Above the cloud with its shadow is the star with its light. Rabindranath Tagore. Above all things, reverence yourselves. Pythagoras. A fool is known by his speech and a wise man by silence. Plato. Wisdom thoroughly learned will never be forgotten. Seneca. Death smiles at us all week. All we can do is smile back. Marcus Aurelius. Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed.
The reward. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set, and you with it. Marcus Aurelius. It is in your power to withdraw yourself whenever you desire. Perfect tranquility within consists in the good ordering of the mind, the realm of your own. Marcus Aurelius. This man despises me, that is his problem. My only concern is not doing or saying anything deserving of contempt. Epictetus. In the world, there is nothing better and more pleasant than friendship. To exclude friendship from life is the same as to deprive the world of sunlight. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Those silence is not necessarily an admission. It is not a denial either. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Don't spoil the impression of what you have by wanting what you don't have. You get great pleasure. You need to limit yourself. Epictetus. The life of a fool is bleak and full of fear because he puts everything aside for the future. Epicurus. Difficulty shows what men are. Therefore, when a difficulty falls upon you, remember that God, like a trainer of wrestlers, has matched you with a rough young man. Epictetus. We must not believe the many who say that only free people ought to be educated, but we should rather believe the philosophers who say that only the educated are free. Epictetus. A force devoid of reason perishes by itself. Leonardo da Vinci. He will always be a slave who does not know how to live upon a little. Horace. If any man cannot feel the power of God when he looks upon the stars, then I doubt whether he is capable of any feeling at all. Seneca. Good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. Plato. There is in every one of us, even those who seem to be most moderate, a type of desire that is terrible, wild, and lawless. Plato. Poets utter grapes and wise things, which they do not themselves understand. Plato. Never trust a friend who speaks bad of his comrades. Epictetus. You should make great things, not promising great things. Seneca. It is difficult to walk at one and the same time. Many paths of life. Seneca. Only time can heal what reason cannot. Seneca. Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power. Seneca. If you live in harmony with nature, you will never be poor. If you live according to what others think, you will never be rich. Epicurus. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Epictetus. Nothing endures but change. Heraclitus. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The secret to humor is surprise. Aristotle. Fear is pain arising from the anticipation of evil. Aristotle. The only stable state is the one in which all men are equal before the law. Aristotle. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. Ralph Waldo Emerson. What it does wrong, wrongs himself. U.S. injustice does it to himself make. Himself evil. Marcus Aurelius. A memory of everything is very soon overwhelmed in time. Aristotle. The function of wisdom is to discriminate between good and evil. Aristotle. Nothing stands out so conspicuously or remains so firmly fixed in the memory as something which you have blundered. Aristotle. We are bound by the law so that we may be free. Cicero. What are you laughing at? A story is told about you with a changed name. Seneca.